So Emmanuel Macron has done what Emmanuel Macron knows how to do best, and that is to insult. That is to insult. This is okay. Let me tell you what happened before I say what I wanted to say. So Macron said that Africans are ingrates, that we don't know how to show gratitude because without he and the French military, that many African countries will not be sovereign today. But this is not the first time Macron is insulting Africa. Remember, I think that was 2017. Was it 2018? But once when he came into power newly, he said that Africans we are uncivilized. We don't there's no civilization, we don't blah blah. He said that Africans are uncivilized. So maybe whenever he feels like it's not such a big deal. Like I've said this thing here on this show several times. Whenever those elites, I don't like to use the word elite, but let me use the word elite. Those elites in France, whenever they feel like they're not such a big deal, they want to come to Africa to beat their chest like a gorilla in his prime to say, yeah, 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 we're still the big deal. So that's Macron's problem. But but what I'm really excited about now is that several African countries spoke back, right? And it's really good. I like that Chad, the government of Chad spoke back, and also Senegal, Sonko, that's the Prime Minister of Senegal, spoke back, which is important because if I was even wondering why Cote d'Ivoire and several other countries didn't say anything, but I like that at least some African countries spoke back. So now let's go back to this Macron statement. Macron said without the French military that African nations would not have been sovereign. Who took the sovereignty away in the first instance? Emmanuel Macron. Who took the sovereignty away in the first instance? Is it not your country? Is it not you and your ancestors? If you had just stayed in your country and focused on the issues you had in your country, this back and forth we're having, no sovereignty, no sovereignty, we'll not be having it. It is you, in just in case you don't know how to look in the mirror. It is you that took away the sovereignty in the first instance. It's you. Second of all, let's even look at this so-called peace and stability he said he brought to the Sahel. The fire that is burning in the Sahel, France can hold responsibility for it. Mhm. France followed United States and NATO. In fact, I think even in the WikiLeaks, if I'm not mistaken, in the WikiLeaks document that was leaked back then, it was revealed that the reason that France was one of the heavy proponents of getting into Libya because Gaddafi was planning to create a currency that would be used across Africa, including these African countries that are using currencies that is printed by France. So you're one of the masterminds of the chaos. It was because of NATO's intervention in Libya. This Sahel that we are saying is on fire today. It was NATO's intervention in Libya. NATO flooded Libya with weapons, with people with some extremist ideology because they wanted to get rid of Gaddafi. They did it, and then that fire burnt from Libya and came into the Sahel region. And let's not forget that in 2013, France got involved in Mali. Let's not forget that in 2013, France got involved in Mali with military that added to the fire. So, Macron, maybe you're thinking if you're looking for the problem, what has caused the problem in the Sahel region, why it's burning, you should probably look in the mirror. Mm. Instead of coming and pointing at Africans that are just victims of your silly policy. Instead of pointing at Africans and saying, you have a problem. Africans are the victims of your disastrous foreign policy. Maybe you should look in the mirror. Maybe. And there was a response that the Prime Minister of um, Senegal gave that I think was really apt. He said, Sonko, he said that, I'm paraphrasing, that let's not forget the role that African nations played in the liberation of Europe, both in the First World War, the Second World War. In the First World War, they took soldiers from here. Africans died for a fight that it was not ours. In the Second World War, we Africans also got involved to die for a fight that is not our business. Let's not forget. And Sonko said something so correct. He said, if not because of the Africans that went to die fighting the Nazis in Europe, maybe, just maybe, France will still be under Germany today. Because Adolf Hitler invaded France. He did. He invaded France and he took over several places in France. It was the blood of Africans. It was the blood and the sweat of Africans. A fight that was not their business. It was the blood of Africans that liberated France from the shackles of the Germans. It was. It was. So maybe France is the ingrate here. Maybe. Maybe every morning Macron should be calling African countries and saying, thank you for liberating us from the Nazis. Thank you for playing a part in making France a free country today. But no, he's coming to ask us to give thanks. Give thanks for the fire you set in our region, Macron. Give thanks for the fire you set in our region. The hubris. The hubris. Anyway, I know what the problem is. I tell you what the problem is. Macron is a failed leader. Let's look at France today. Political instability. Because right now you're still thinking France is the France in your head. It's political instability. With how many protests have we been seeing in France? As we speak, the farmers are still protesting. The farmers are protesting. The French people went to the polls election and they overwhelmingly, most of them voted for Marine Le Pen. But Macron went to collude with the left to so that they can do something, so they can play politics to stop Marine Le Pen coming into office. They succeeded, but now the prime minister you appointed has failed. So right now, the politics in France is very fragile. It's very fragile. It's crazy. But Macron does not want to look at that. The economic situation in France is a mess. France is in an economic mess, just in case you don't know. Because Macron does not want to face his failures in France, he wants to come to Africa to beat his chest like a gorilla in his prime. You're mistaken. Okay, we've seen the disgrace that France has had to face in Mali, in Burkina Faso, in Niger. Is a terrible blow. Now, in the last segment, I mentioned that the withdrawal of French military troops French military in Cote d'Ivoire is actually Macron made mention of doing that back in June 2024. Yes, but maybe the rest of the world are not really understanding. So the the perception of the rest of the world is all these other African countries are kicking out the French, right? So Macron is trying to come and say, no, 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 we are still the big deal in Africa. No, 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 no. Macron, you are not. Let me tell you something, Emmanuel Macron. You're a failed leader. You're a failed president. You have failed in your domestic policy. You have failed in your foreign policy. You worked very strongly to make France a satellite state of the United States. Now it looks like Donald Trump is looking away from Europe. You are scared because now you're nothing. You are nothing. So I would advise you, Emmanuel Macron, rather than come to Africa to try to beat your chest like a gorilla in his prime, trying to remind yourself that yes, you are the big deal. It's better to be humble. Yes, it's better to be humble and face your faults and face reality, what it really is. Tell yourself the truth, where France is really, and then decide how you can make France great. Because when it comes to Africa, your clout is over, and there's nothing you can do about it. So let me know what you think about Macron and his disrespectful statements to Africa that we are all ingrates. Coming from France. Coming from France. Macron has the mouth to say that if not for French military, there will be no sovereignty in Africa. Who took the sovereignty away in the first place? We're talking about sovereign nations. Are you not printing the currencies of these African countries? The currencies they're using in their country, does that ring like sovereignty to you? Does that ring like sovereignty to you? Let me know what you think about Macron's statement in the comment section below. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to this channel, and share this video with your family, your friends, everybody, so we can amplify what is going on in Africa with relations to the rest of the world on the global stage. And if you want to support the work that I'm doing here, feel free to use the Buy Me a Coffee link in the description, and it's also on the screen. Thank you so much.